Rhoda's family's living with us every day, every single day. And it's a pretty rare day that we don't think about this, and we don't think about giving her justice.
He beat the only witness to this crime, which was Rhoda Nathan. Not only beat her, but beat her to death.
As she passed away, so did my family. My family basically dissolved around me. We all just very much grew apart. There was nothing there to draw us back in together. It was horrible. She was the one that just really pulled everybody together for the holidays. She was the one that pulled everybody together for family get-togethers.
Valentine Nathan's 67-year-old mother enjoyed life. Rhoda volunteered at a local school. Then there was community theater, tennis, golf, and travel. The New Jersey grandmother came here in 1994 for a joyful occasion to attend the bar mitzvah of her best friend's grandson.
My mother was a very giving person, giving of her time, giving of herself. She was a person that certainly, one, enjoyed life. She enjoyed going places. She enjoyed doing things. She was full of life until her life was taken from her.
Valentine's mother would come home in a casket. So savagely beaten to death, the casket stayed closed at her funeral. She was murdered at the Embassy Suites in Blue Ash in a suite she shared with two friends. When they left for breakfast, Elwood Jones, a maintenance worker with a master key and a history of burglary, thought no one was in the room.
He thinks it's an empty room. He's going to go in with his master key, steal what's available, probably in less than a minute, and be out of there, be back to work. He had I'm convinced, no intention of finding anyone there or killing anyone there. But when he did, he went back to what he thought he had to do to keep from getting in trouble.
The beating was vicious, detailed in the autopsy report. Rhoda's jaw was shattered, pushing bones into her mouth. 2 teeth smashed out. One was in her stomach, the other on the floor. Her ribs were broken, and there were unusual bruising patterns on her neck and cheeks. The coroner testified there were few defensive wounds, indicating she was overwhelmed quickly by the attack.
But whoever did this was obviously there that morning. She wasn't killed somewhere else and dumped there. Whoever did this had some type of master key because they had to get into that room. It was locked.
Elwood Jones came to work early that day and checked out a master key. So did others. But the master key is just the beginning of powerful evidence against him.
We also know that Elwood Jones showed up for work that morning without any kind of injury to his hand, any kind of wrapping. Several hours later, shortly after this murder happened, people noticed he had his left hand wrapped. And a couple different people said, "Elwood, what happened to your hand?" And he told these different people different versions of what happened to his hand.
When Jones's hand became infected, this is what it looked like. He went to a clinic 3 days after the murder, where Dr. John McDonough occasionally worked. He was a hand surgeon at UC. McDonough took the photo of Elwood's hand to teach medical students about fight bites. Jones told him he fell on a dumpster. The doctor knew that was BS. He knew the clenched fist injury was a so-called fight bite, infected by a rare bacteria commonly found in the dental plaque.
It's where the strike was. It was to the human mouth. That's where this bacteria is found. You're not going to find it on dumpsters. You're not going to find it on a piece of stairway or on something he might have been setting up. And by cutting his hand open so much and by exposing her gum line, by breaking out her teeth, that's where he got the bacteria.
Elwood Jones tested positive for that bacteria. When Blue Ash police found out about this, they got a search warrant for his car and toolbox. It was more like a murder box. Here's what they found. The master key he took out in the morning and did not return at the end of the day, door chains, and the pendant Rhoda was wearing that morning, the one her deceased husband made for her using diamonds from his mother's ring, a necklace Rhoda never took off.
When they're all taken together, it is a powerful case of guilt, and so powerful that a lay jury, believed beyond any reasonable doubt that he had done this to Rhoda.
It took months for forensic experts to analyze the evidence, not the kind you see on TV crime shows. but evidence specific to Elwood Jones. Analysts from the military, the FBI, and CSIs testified.
And they produced overlays to show the uniqueness of the wounds to her body, which matched Elwood Jones' walkie-talkie, the unique one he was carrying that morning.
The general outline of the radio, along with the buttons that appear on the radio, line up with the indentations in the skin. So there are two independent factors that are matching up: the basic outline of the radio along with the buttons.
A culmination of a lot of circumstantial evidence that fits perfectly together and leaves, in my mind, no doubt Elwood did this.
The jury had no doubt either. It convicted Elwood Jones of aggravated murder. Under Ohio law, that's a potential death sentence. The jury found Elwood Jones guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. It did not have to recommend the death penalty, but it did. The trial judge did not have to impose it, but he did.
Beyond a reasonable doubt means you have to be certain. You have to be sure. I mean, you can make up anything. Martians planted her necklace. Who the hell knows? It's possible. Of course, it's possible. But is imaginary possibility reasonable doubt? It is not. You just have to be sure, like you would be of your most important decisions in your life.
And they were sure.
And they were absolutely sure.
Now, after 30 years of appeals, Elwood Jones wants a new trial. A Hamilton County judge has heard arguments but has not made a decision. Elwood Jones's attorneys are using the desperate Saudi defense, also known as "some other dude did it" defense. It's an attempt to shift the blame and focus to someone else. Elwood Jones says he was framed.
So there's somebody walking around with a hand wound, with a walkie-talkie similar to Elwood's, with a pass key, with her jewelry in his car. Why would the prosecutor's office ever let an innocent man be punished like this? We would never do that. And why would you let a killer go free? Why would you ever do that?
The other dude he says did it is dead. So is the wife who says he confessed. They were divorcing at the time, and it was determined she had mental health issues. Then there is this. His defense says Blue Ash police officer Mike Bray planted the necklace in Elwood's toolbox. He's dead too.
No evidence of that. He's got family. He's got friends. How does that make them feel? My husband, my dad, my brother is accused of intentionally planting evidence to convict someone.
Then there is Rhoda's family.
They're being victimized over and over and over again. And all these people that are groupies for Elwood Jones, the only groupies for Rhoda Nathan are her family. And they, every time something like this comes up, I'm sure going through their mind is, what if he actually does get out and no one is punished for my mom's murder?
The mere fact that he's still even alive after all the appeals and everything else, that I'm not ashamed to say it, that he's still breathing? Seriously? My mother is not here. And this guy is still breathing and still appealing. I'm not saying that him dying is going to be fair. No. But him living is certainly not fair. Him constantly trying to do all these appeals and just bringing everything back year after year. It's torment. It's torment on me. And in a sense, it's torment on my family. You think about these milestones in the children's lives of what my mother would have been able to enjoy.
The darkness of murder never goes away. There's no such thing as closure except on TV crime shows. Vivid reminders can come suddenly, such as when Valentine's daughter recently called to ask him if he was okay.
This is my baby asking me if I'm okay. And then that brings back the memories of my mother's casket being rolled out of the funeral home, and my grandmother. My mother's mother was still alive. She was burying her daughter. And I remember my grandmother, like on top of the casket, saying, my baby, my baby. And it just brought back the memories as I'm saying, like, this is my baby. And she's asking me. It's incomprehensible.
I hope they know that we have worked tirelessly to give justice to their mother. She deserves it. They deserve it. Hamilton County deserves it. We don't need some murderous bastard like Elwood Jones walking around our community. I mean, anybody do this to an old lady, he'd kill your mom. He'd kill anybody's mom. So, I mean, he needs to go. And if the judges follow the law, he will.